I'm talking with the Chief Minister, and I really want to talk about, bizarrely of all things, the Jacksons in this part of it. It's about the transparency side of government. I mean, well, what do you think of the whole thing? That you're not going to tell the public how much that event, put on by the state, the Alabama government, actually cost the taxpayer. Do you think that is the correct way that your government should be handling these things?
No, I'm a great believer in transparency, in spite of what some of our critics might say, and it is normal practice for any event of this nature for those figures to be made public. Now, at this stage, I don't know what the contractual agreements are around this particular concert. I had nothing to do with it, but there may well be commercial confidentiality over certain aspects of it, which means that at least all the figures can't be made public. But I certainly will be investigating whether, in fact, the net loss to government, without revealing the contractual aspect of it, whether those figures can be made public. At this stage, I don't know, but it certainly is my ambition to be as open with the public as possible on these things. But don't forget, it would appear that the Jacksons didn't make the money that was anticipated. But the Minister himself announced this week that some 350 events are put on in the Villa and Gaiety over any 12-month period. That's a huge amount of work that has to go in to provide the cultural experience that Manx people expect. Some will break even, some will make a profit. On occasions, there will be a loss. We have to accept, I think, though, that the island probably doesn't have the market here big enough to sustain the attraction of some of these big names for the future. If you remember back to the 70s, in particular, we used to attract most of the big names in UK show business.
The government wasn't paying for that, was it?
No, but there was a paying public who were prepared to go and support it. That doesn't seem to happen anymore.
Sure. And I'm sure, I mean, I enjoyed the event, but I mean, £75 was the ticket price. You had to fill it out, and it wasn't obviously completely full. But back to this thing about what the government should be doing, what it shouldn't be doing, and especially in these times when you're going after motorists and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Was it a good decision? Will it happen again? This sort of thing run by the state, the government running a function that isn't actually open to everybody. You have still got to pay to go to it.
Yeah.
Is that the way it should be going?
I'm sure you'll recall that part of the scope of government review that's going on at the moment is the future of the Villa Marina and the Gaiety Theatre. I don't believe government should be in the business of putting on this sort of entertainment at all. The private sector should do it. But we must recognise if the people of the Isle of Man want this type of entertainment and the private sector themselves aren't prepared to come forward to put it on themselves, then the only option is for government to step into the breach. This one appears not to have worked. But we will continue our work to see if we can find a better relationship with the private sector to ensure that the promotion of these events, which government has no real training for anyway, it is in the hands of private sector individuals who have experience and the right contacts within the show business world to ensure that these businesses are run profitably and indeed gives the Manx public what they want.
And this transparency thing, I mean, this is the whole problem. Let's forget the Jacksons. Other things that constantly come up with, this confidentiality clauses come in and it blocks it all. It's all very convenient, isn't it? I mean, if somebody makes a profit, I'm sure he'd be the first to tell us all it made, like the TT or something. But, well, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it is a difficult one. I have done my utmost to ensure that wherever possible, these figures, for whatever activity the government might be involved in, are accessible to the public. It is the taxpayers' money which is being spent, and the taxpayers have every right to know where their money is going. But there are occasions where commercial confidentiality has to be recognised, and indeed certain actions, activities, contracts would not be delivered if there was a belief that the commercial aspects of some contracts were to be made public. Not necessarily for the public to know, but in some cases for the competitors to find out what
well, we've all got memories of the MEA and a certain man in charge.
Yes.
No one, it took forever to be able to get that information into the public domain, and it was a fight, wasn't it? Were you comfortable with that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope we will not be in that situation ever again. Lessons certainly have been learned from the steps government took at the time or didn't take at the time. But as far as possible, I want to ensure that this government is as open and transparent as it can be. We are in the process of bringing in the Freedom of Information Act. That will be in next year. That will open further avenues for people to have access.
It won't give me access to get salaries out of people, will it? I mean, for instance,
I hope it will give people as much information as they need. We have a system of...
and that's the thing, though, isn't it? How much can you give without it?
Yes, but there are very few... we have a code of practice at the moment, and there are very few refusals, literally in single figures, in any 12-month period to give the public the information that they want. So there's already a very effective working process there at present. So this is continuing our commitment. As far as the Jacksons are concerned, there may well be contractual reasons why this can't happen. I'll need to find out about that. I honestly don't know. I was not involved in it in any way at all. I don't know the background to it. But if it is possible for the public to be given certainly the net.
Because it would have gone away, the story, otherwise, wouldn't it?
Yes.
You accept that this is
Yes.
why it's now still here a week or so after we're
Yes.
talking about this.
Yes.
Because people have... It's probably one of the most... Next to the parking in a minute, that's probably what people are wondering what's going on.
Well, I can understand that, and certainly, I suppose the timing is not good in the sense that we are asking the general public for £500,000 or thereabout in extra charges for various things. At the same time, we are running a loss-making operation at the villa in this context. But I want to find out what the real facts are, and then we'll see what we can do after that.